And most of the time, these journals use either Turnitin or Authenticate. In case they find that there is similarity beyond what is permissible, then it is immediately returned. In case they find it's okay, then it is sent for peer review. So they have included these use of these anti-plagiarism software. That is all. This is another reason why we should be using it, because the world is using it, and so we have to ensure that our work meets a particular standard. That is why we use. And then we have to also know that our work is open to scrutiny and evaluation all the time. For example, I am a researcher, and I have to get published because my supervisor has strictly told me in very crystal clear terms, जब तक 2 पेपर नहीं होते तब तक PhD sign नहीं होगी. So naturally, and he's right, because how will you be evaluated? You need to have publications. So even if you say, okay, sir ne bola hai, chhapa nahi hai, bilkul, you don't want to do that, still you have to do that. So aapne sab kar liya, you have prepared a draft, you have run it through some anti-plagiarism software, and you have published it. The story doesn't finish over here. Even after you get published, your work is open to scrutiny and evaluation and checking by others. There are certain websites like PubPeer, PubPeer, where you can just create, you can visit the websites and see how researchers have commented on the published work. So that means research is it's not only that our work gets peer reviewed and we get published and story finishes. No, our work is always open to evaluation and scrutiny, even after we get published. That is why it is being, that is why so much is being emphasized upon rigor, honesty, on adherence to the rules of scholarly communication. So that is why it's important for you to know about rules for scholarly communication. Why? Because science is open access, research is all about communication, or communication is the essence of science. Whether you are a researcher from law or from social sciences, humanities, natural sciences, or life sciences, anything, you are being evaluated on the basis of the publications which you have. You are being, while you are, what does our IQAC do? They simply evaluate researchers. While recruiting, they evaluate. How do they evaluate you? By the work you have done. How will your work be judged? On the basis of publications which you have. Then it is also important for you to know that publishing in any outlet, no, it is not acceptable. You have to ensure that whatever you publish is either listed in UGC list, or is there in Scopus or Web of Science. Publishing in predatory journals is a big no, not at all acceptable. So you have to know how to work, how to navigate your research journey, then how to make use of various tools. And before you depend on any tools, you have to decide upon their, for example, you all use Turnitin or Orkun or Drillbit Extreme, but then you must use the tools provided to you by your library. All, there are certain disadvantages, there are certain downsides of anti-plagiarism software which are freely available. So this thing must be ensured. Why? Because privacy is there. Plus, maybe your data is deposited. What happens? In Turnitin, you are told that you have to be very particular while setting parameters. It has to be no repository. But are you told of the freely available facilities? No, you are completely clueless whether your data is being stored over there or not. So once you check in the freely available websites, and then your data gets deposited. And then when you use the facility of your library, and then it will show 100% similarity. Then you will be stuck up. So the message over here is that you have to use the right authenticate tools which are being, and you must use the ones being provided by your library, because government ministry is spending millions and millions of money on, on subscribing the resources. So I would advise, make use of all library resources. Then you see all these tools like AI, or for that matter, different tools which are there available. You cannot blindly. You should not think. You should not assume that you can avoid hard work. You can avoid burning midnight oil and engage ChatGPT 3.5, which will do the work. You know it's a big no. And because all these software, they can detect that, all these Turnitin software, it detects whether you have picked up the content from the chat GPT. And let me tell you, on the basis of my experience, if two students write applications, I can very easily decide and say with 100% accuracy which one is AI generated, which one is not. So when I am a non-teacher, but I have that kind of acumen to decipher, to distinguish between the contents generated by students or by these software, then I think your teachers, they are better dissectors. They can easily dissect and decide, undertake post-mortem of your draft and decide whether it is AI generated or not. I am just talking about it because it's important. It has often been seen that researchers try to, they think they can outsmart their teachers, they can do it, they can ditch. No, because it has been seen, editors, they are smart enough to catch that it has been AI generated. And it's important because it was being it's important because it was observed that students, researchers were using it with amazing frequency. चलो इसको use करा और दे दो. So editors realize that, and editors have come up with the policies with regard to use of AI tools like ChatGPT and others. So if at all, first thing, you cannot use ChatGPT to generate review of literature. You cannot use ChatGPT to generate introduction or conclusion. You can take some help, but that help cannot can replace the hard work, the number of hours which you're supposed to invest in your work. So they have, if at all you are using ChatGPT, the journal's policies spell out that you must mention in methodology that you, for this part of the full text, you have ChatGPT, you have used ChatGPT. And if you, I think it was shown to on the ChatGPT right hand side, there is a link where you, if you have used ChatGPT to generate some content, you can give that link. If the article does not have methodology part, it should be mentioned before the references that you have used ChatGPT. But as a researcher, I would advise you not to depend too much on it. Don't be happy, don't be carried away. Research whether you are a researcher from law, from social sciences, from humanities, they are just tools. How many of you use Grammarly, which helps in English? It only helps, but it cannot replace your English writing skills or expertise. So you must remember that they cannot replace the number of hours which you are supposed to put in. Plus predatory journals, the rules also say that you should not publish in predatory journals. What is a predatory journal? I know it's very boring. Some people are yawning and stretching. What is a predatory journal? I've been told to finish at 12:25, but I have I think I have 196 slides, but I just summarize the crux. So I request you, what do you understand by predatory journal?
Do you take money and then?
No, but you see, this is very important. Predatory journals, there are some 16 parameters which you must be in the know of in order to distinguish between a predatory journal and legitimate journal of the field. There are 4 functions of a journal article. Registration. First one is registration. When we write, then the journal article registers our claim for what we are publishing. That means we are the first one to publish, to talk about it. That is registration. First function is registration. Second function is certification. That means it certifies that the work which you have published, which you are publishing, is extending the boundaries of knowledge, is final, definitive, fit enough to be cited. How does it do? Because whatever you submit is not published. It undergoes peer review. And the though peer means equals, but in this peer review, in this context, it means your work will be evaluated, will be scrutinized by the experts of your field. They are going to decide that the work which you have submitted falls within the scope of the journal. You have you have used robust methodology, and the findings which you have reported are in sync with the methodology which you have adopted. I hope I am making sense. So because all these, they also check whether you have used the right standard language. And then your work gets published. So first one is registration, then certification, then it becomes a permanent record, dissemination. Why do you write? You don't want to conceal your research findings. You want global audience. You want maximum readership for your work. That is why you disseminate. So a journal article disseminates your research work, research findings. Then it is a permanent record. Once your article gets published, it is going to be there for generations to come. So all these 4 functions are met by proper journals, the ones which are not predatory. But predatory are the ones which journals, they do not undertake any peer review procedure. They will just publish anything which you give, and they will submit it, they will give you acceptance within 2 to 4 days and publish within 15 days. So it's important for you to know they charge, but they do not review. Peer review is the major difference. But you should also know that all journals charge, like Elsevier charges. They charge, and that model is known as gold open access. That means they will charge you, and they will publish your article, and they will make it accessible immediately after your article gets published. So just remember that all journals, they charge. All journals like Elsevier, like Sage, like Taylor and Francis, like Wiley, they charge, and they're charging APC article processing fee. And this model is known as gold open access. That means they will charge you, and then they will publish your article, and then they will make it available in public domain immediately after it gets published. It is important. But then they have each and everything open, and in a very crystal clear, well defined, and it's available on the website. I hope I'm making sense. But these predatory journals, they charge, but they don't undertake any peer review. So you must understand the difference. They are also charging. Elsevier is also charging, but Elsevier is also making it. You can publish in an Elsevier without paying APC, as well as there are models where you have to pay and then. But in predatory, no other model, merely publish. Merely pay and publish. So this is, you have to be very clear. So how will you decide that a particular journal is a predatory one or an authentic one? You can visit the website, and you must see the contact details. Though most of the journals are available online, but if you see contact details, you will find physical address as well. So this is one way. Editorial board, you must see. They will clearly mention the editorial board. But most of these days, what is happening is that Day3 journals in their editorial board mention the names of established researchers of the field without taking their permission. So this is how you can website, then Day3 website, you will just see there are a lot of errors. Then you see what is the scope of the journal. Scope of the journal is always well defined on their websites. In Day3 journals, what happens? Their scope will be very very wide. They say International Journal of Humanities, Medical Sciences, Engineering, and Dentistry. Can you think of a journal which is specializing in dentistry as well as social sciences and engineering? So one thing, their scope is very, very wide. So all students, all young researchers, it's very important for you to understand the scope. Plus, when you visit the website, what happens? Day3 journals, they name themselves very close to the authentic or legitimate journals of the field. What does it mean? I think we all are well aware of LACME and LACME. So this is the difference over here. They name themselves very clear, very close to the established journals of the field. They will copy the logos and images from the well-established field. Another thing, what happens, you can decide by visiting the website, in the legitimate journals or authentic journals of the field, if you visit the website, you will find past issues, archival files. So you can decide, you can yourself see when did it start publishing, how many issues are available online. Because in Day3 journals, what happens? They don't provide all these details well defined on their websites. Plus, what happens? Most of the journals, they are not able to celebrate their first anniversary at their own event. So this is how you have to differentiate. Then these journals claim that they have an impact factor of 7, 8, and they are indexed in this and this. It's very important for all of you to know that any journal which says that it has an impact factor of 7 or 8, you must know that the only body under the sun which assigns impact factor to the journals is Clarivate Analytics. And if it talks, if you see now, if you go and see, you will see they will mention that the index is in the journal is indexed in following databases, and they will mention their what we call it impact factor as well. But you must see, if Web of Science is not there, is not listed here, that means it's all fake, it's all bogus. Because if you claim that you have an impact factor, then you must also write on your website that it is indexed in Web of Science. So you have to know about these. Plus, these citations are very important these days, because citations show the impact which my work is having in the field. Citations show how others are using my work, how others are referring to my work. So it's very important for you to know about citations, but then what happens? People in science, I hope there are researchers in science over here. Okay, it's good. Huh?
Only law and humanities.
Okay. So, but it has often been seen that citations are often misused. In order to create an inflated count for me, what I do, even in law people, they write, no. So if we are friends, what will I do? I will try to just, refer to your work in my work, that in the process, I will get, you will get one citation, and I request you to cite my paper. So in the process, we will get, both of us will gain. But the thing is, this is how citations are misused. but still the citations have value. So impact factor, as I said, you should know when you are deciding upon predatory and journals. And then these journals, they often name themselves as international. How will you decide that a particular journal is national or international? We have to wind up. I don't think I'll be able to finish my 196 slides in this, but I'm talking about it.
And the circulation of that journal.
Everything is available online these days. So even if you create a, you host a journal in your department of law, it will have maximum circulation because it's going to be there online.
The participation of authors of different countries.
Yes, this is important. How will you decide that the particular journal is a national or international? By just scanning the volumes, the past issues, and authorial base. That means if authors are from different countries. And then, what do you call it? Then editors should also be from different countries. So this is one of the important criteria. One of the important criterion to decide. Then it's important for you to know that fund granting bodies and universities across the globe, they are emphasizing upon that your research data should be made available in public domain. That means whatever research you publish, if it has some underlying data, either you should supply them in as a supplementary files, or you should make them available in open access repositories, and you should mention that too. So this is an important criteria. All these journals, they have research data policy over there. They have ethics policy over there. Contact address, they are, on every journal. Now, if you go and visit, you will find a small tab of metrics, scope, small tab instructions for authors. It's very important for all budding researchers as well as for senior researchers. So all these metrics, it provides you exact information, whether it is listed in Web of Science or Scopus or not. Right now I recall, and I want to just share with you, it's important for you to know, because most of the journals, Springer Nature, they also list that it is listed in Web of Science, Scopus, as well as UGCPR list. So now if you go on Springer Nature, and so look for all these information, metrics, instructions for authors, scope. So this is, all these help you in differentiating. These are some 16 criteria which you should be in the know of. Similarly, you have predatory conferences too. So you have to be really cautious of, you can be cautious of only when you know. And sometimes these predatory conferences are organized, and they are organized in a good hotel, and you will find that there are at times more speakers on the stage than off the stage. And when these are cancelled, that you are not reimbursed your registration fees. So you have to be in the know of. But then how to decide upon the right manuscript for your journal? There are various tools like Journal Finder. Elsevier help you in finding the right journal from their basket. Taylor and Francis find the Journal Finder. They will help you in identifying the right journal from their basket. But there are certain features like EndNote Basic. This is EndNote Basic is a reference management tool, and it is very important for all of you to use either EndNote or Mendeley or Zotero. There are some freely available facilities, and if you use them, these facilities really help you. For example, if you create an account on Zotero and Mendeley, so naturally you will create your profile, you will add your publications. Similarly, there are millions of researchers like you who have created their accounts, updated their profiles with their publications. So maybe a full text which you need is you do not get here in library, but you get on your Zotero and Mendeley. So I'm telling about this because it has often been seen, because these UGC policy, they talk about plagiarism, they talk about falsification, fabrication of data, and then it has often been seen that students or young researchers, they often commit inadvertent plagiarism because they are ignorant of the rules of writing. They are ignorant of when to give, how to give in-text citation, how to give a corresponding references at the end. So please make use of these tools. Plus, I was talking about EndNote Basic. This is a reference management tool, but it has a wonderful feature. That means, for example, you have prepared a manuscript, but you are clueless about where to submit. So you just cut paste your abstract, and it generates a list of journals where you can submit. One thing. This is an automated way of finding the right journal for your work. Are you getting? I am making sense. My query to you. I talked about the manual way of identifying or zeroing in on a particular journal where you can submit your manuscript. Right? Now my query is, what is the manual way of identifying the potential journal for your work? Now, then I'll wind up because I have signals and messages from the organizers to wrap up. Yes, sir, question to, no question in general to anyone.
Basically, we are all ready to relate to
Oh.
any question you may ask.
No, first answer my question.
You have to answer.
You see, this is important. My query is okay or is intelligible to all of you. I gave you an example of automated program which is there in place to help you. But what is the manual method of identifying the potential journal for your work?
Ma'am, we first go through the index which is there, like Scopus index which is there. And then we zero on the particular sector that if it's a social science or related to law, then we search that keyword through law, and then we try to go through that website of that particular journal, and then we try to contact them.
Yes, yes. This is also a wonderful way of identifying the potential journal for your work. But let me also tell you the way which I do in library science. For example, I have prepared a manuscript. For preparing a manuscript, we download so many articles, save them in our C drive, D drive, and then we need full text. Full text में what do? We see references to. कई लोगों को पता नहीं होता वो पेज बचाने के लिए रेफरेंस वाले पेज ही नहीं प्रिंट आउट करते हैं. But those references page have lot of tremendous value. So am I making sense? आप references देख रहे हैं जिसका full text आपने पढ़ा, तो आप देखिए जिस journal की maximum frequency आ रही है उसमें submit कर दें. This way I do. These are just the tips or suggestions to help you navigate. Maybe you need them right in the initial phase. Tomorrow or a day after tomorrow, maybe you pick up the skills of the trade and you may not find these sessions useful, no? So this is another way of identifying the. So now you know the manual as well as automated. Then other ethical consideration, first honesty is very important, and UGC regulations 2018, and I think it's a must-read document for all the supervisors as well as all the mentors, all students. Then UGC also came up with a document in September 2020. It is a 56-page document, and it is much read for all of you, supervisors as well as students. Because it also talks about honesty and norms and rules which must be followed. I just wind up within 5 minutes. Then you see, whenever you undertake any research, approval is very much required. Sometimes we may get published, but when it comes to the fore that we did not have the proper approval, then आप दिल्ली के MCT schools में कोई research करने चले जाइए, कुछ आपका वही नहीं होगा until unless you have proper permission. So similarly, it happens in sciences. All the universities have institutional ethics review board. वो आपके भी यहाँ university में होगा, so proper approval is required. And you know, when fabrication, falsification of data, all these things, they are all forms of misconduct. sentence नहीं ठीक किया, यहाँ verb and agreement is not an agreement. So, but the only thing is that you need to mention that it's an extended version of the paper presented on so and so forum. So at least many people do not know they can publish the same paper in the book, provided that because it will not remain the same. Because the editor will give you market times. So to answer your query, I would request you, to get submit your manuscript. In short, step number 1, put in your 100%. Step number 2, submit to write journal. Step write journal means not to be taken for a ride by the journals. Submit to write journal. Write journal it may take time. Sometimes the turn around time is 6 months to 20 months. And sometimes after 6 months they say your article is declined. But they don't just say decline, they also provide you feedback. So in the light of feedback, you can revise your paper and submit. So these are all the things I have done, and on the basis of my experience, I am telling you. There is no single size solution which will fit on, but these are different methods which we can use. And then it does happen. For example, जिसका आप बोल रहे हैं कि उनका दान बचाना, but जितना दान बचाना होगा उस बंदे ने भी we must have put in decades of दान बचाना मतलब 20 साल professor बनने, not in the initial phase. So tomorrow you will become a professor. You won't have to go to big level. Good. My only suggestion to you is giving your 100%. And what happens? We don't give you 100%. We do work hard, but in on and off. So, but what we require is a lot of perseverance, a lot of endurance. We need tenacity. We need consistency of efforts. We should not do that. We have seen what happens in most of the sciences. We come across a lot for paper. A conference is being organized in Switzerland in May, June 2024, and I believe it. I will give my abstract proposal, extended abstract. I talk of everything I am doing under the sun. But then time flies and we are not able to do because we don't really consistency of efforts. Time flies, but pressure is more. Then we resort to all these shortcuts. But I personally feel as a researcher that you don't have to run after numbers. But teachers के आराम से हो जाते हैं. मतलब I have nothing against I'm just sharing my experience that consistency does pay. Tomorrow when you become a teacher, you will have to invest less time and relax in the glory of the success which you have earned. So I think there is no single right fits all, but the single solution or the single mantra is that you need to give it your 100%. And एक बार आपका नहीं ऐसे करना चाहिए, दूसरी बार चलेगा. एक बार आपका impact factor वाले में नहीं चलेगा, आपका आगे चलेगा.
There is also one question. First of all, it is very informative section. My question is that single parameter for different streams or fields as per UGC is good or not? For science, for law also, there is a single parameter that plagiarism should be less than 10%.
नहीं देखिए ना ऐसा नहीं है. वो होता है ना कि आप देखिए writing practices also differ. For example, a person in chemistry may be writing 20 papers a year, whereas a researcher from mathematics may be publishing 1 paper in 2 years. So writing culture, writing practices, plus for example, I say I am a person from social sciences. I give my students write a term paper, but and if they copy, say they have to write a term paper of 5,000 words. It's important for all of you to know. Maya ji, Dr. Maya, I would request you to announce the session closes as per your convenience. You see, it's important because when I have asked you to write a term paper of 5,000 words, you write 5,000 words. Out of those 5,000 words, 3,000 are copied, but you say you have given in-text citation, then at the corresponding reference is there. Is it plagiarism?
No.
It's not plagiarism. You see, in a text of 5,000 words, You have written 25 words copied from some other source. You have given in-text citation and a corresponding reference. Is it all right? It is plagiarism. Because in a text of 5,000, 2,500 are because you are not giving out any new thing. You are not contributing anything new on your own. You see, but it does happen in social sciences. In humanities, what happens? In literature, what happens? We work on commentaries. We work on sub-commentaries. So naturally, we need to quote profusely from those texts. So you cannot, I personally feel we cannot paint everyone with the same brush. But then, you know, when you are a law professor sitting, working in a government university, we should not be commenting on such things. We should try to do. Or if you can come, you know, no, this is important. This is how these things evolve and change. We can, if somebody is working in, it's a committee, there we can write to the committee that there should be different parameters. Because when I say, you know, a person working in literature, maybe he needs to work confusion. Whereas a researcher in social sciences, I ask students, please, you know, this is endless. We need to spend 2 to 3 hours.
We can discuss all the things of the basically जो same problem है law की कि आप जो आप लोगों के cases होते हैं कोट करते हैं revision माध्यम जो आप पूछते हैं
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is with immense pleasure and gratitude I extend a heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of everyone present here to our esteemed speaker who has enlightened us today with an insightful disclosure on the topic ethical consideration in modern research. May I kindly request Dr. Maya ma'am to facilitate our esteemed speaker with a memento symbolizing our collective appreciation for the invaluable knowledge shared. As we wrap up this engaging session, it's time for a tea break. I request everyone to join back again for the valedictory ceremony, which will also include distribution of participation certificates for everyone. So thank you.
5 minutes का break है अब जल्दी आइएगा क्योंकि हमारी chief guest and I think this is very beautiful and this is first time I'm coming across that this topic has been customized and you know thank you ma'am. I think topic बहुत interesting है इसके लिए और time होना चाहिए था तो आप बिल्कुल डिस्कस कर लीजिए especially
वरना मैम के कैंपस में चला जाऊंगा वहां पे आता